Hi, I'm Mindy Eldridge with the Mindful Heart. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the second step or the second key to implementing a heart first education. In our previous videos, we first explored what a heart first education is. And then in our second video, we took a look at the first way or first key of implementing a heart first education, which is softening hearts. So make sure to check back and watch those videos. But today we're going to talk about the second way to implement a heart first education, and that is by diversifying learning. Now, there's two things that I think are really important in diversifying learning. The first comes from a psychologist back in the late 70s, early 80s. A theory was presented called the theory of multiple intelligences. And at the time, the the psychologist Howard Gardner, he started taking a look at IQ tests and began to think more about what IQ tests actually test for, and realized that IQ tests test for really a narrow look at what true intelligence is. So he did a lot of studying, testing, researching, and he developed what he calls the theory of multiple intelligences. The second area that I want to discuss and keep in mind as we go through these slides is to think about what you can do to appeal to the strengths of your child or your children or those you're teaching. So let's jump in, and I'm going to discuss the theory of multiple intelligences that he put forth and think about how you can specifically appeal to the strengths of others. Now, the theory of multiple intelligences includes 8 areas of intelligence. The first is spatial intelligence. Spatial intelligence is the ability to reason spatially. The spatially intelligent individual thinks in pictures or images and is able to create based on visualizations. Quite often, those with strong spatial intelligence skills, their interests and abilities are in building, geography, maps, art, design. And we see that in professions such as carpentry, masons, architects, inventors, cartographers, surveyors, designers, artists, seamstress, and so on. So, how can you build spatial intelligence and incorporate it in your teaching and learning experiences? Here are just a few ideas. And as we discuss these ideas, though a picture might show a younger child or an older child, really in a lot of cases, it can go either way. It's not just specific to younger children or older children. But some ideas for implementing spatial intelligence into learning is um, Play-Doh reading, spelling, or math, using Play-Doh and manipulating, hands-on, touching, feeling, doing, and spatially moving things around really adds an added layer and depth to learning. Using math manipulatives, spatial reasoning activities, having hands-on projects and science experiments. Now, I want to point out we tend to think of math manipulatives just for the youngest of children, but even up at the level of algebra, there are manipulatives that can be really helpful. The manipulatives are used to teach first in a concrete way and then move to the abstract so that the individual really understands what these numbers and symbols represent. Another way to bring in spatial intelligence is to integrate art into other subjects, whether that's math, spelling, reading, science, history. Art is a wonderful way to incorporate that. The next is linguistic intelligence. Linguistic intelligence is the ability to understand and use written and spoken language effectively. Someone that's strong in a linguistic intelligence tends to be a strong reader, writer, speller. strong abilities in grammar, poetry, language, public speaking. Professions that you see in the linguistic area are politicians, news reporters, writers, comedians, lawyers, radio personalities, editors, librarians, speech pathologists, and so on. Now, I'm not going to give specific examples in this area because I think of all areas of education, this is where we really shine. We're constantly developing reading, writing, spelling skills, poetry, sharing and communicating. So I think that this area is a little bit more evident just in our current public education system. The next area of intelligence is the logical mathematical intelligence area. Logical mathematical intelligence is the natural sense of numbers and number relationships, along with the ability to use logic and reasoning in solving problems. Interests and abilities tend to lie in these categories: problem solving activities, logic and strategy based activities, games and puzzles, all areas of mathematics. And we see professions in this area as mathematicians, scientists, accountants, computer programmers, bankers, statisticians, auditors, and so on. Now, math is a standard area of study in the education system, but how can we do it in a way that really builds the logical mathematical mind in all learners with all learning styles? Math games are one of the greatest ways we can do this. Shannon Duncan said, "One of the main benefits of playing math games is in the amount of retention it creates. Getting kids all the way up and active sparks the connection in the neurons of the brain to help with processing and retention of new information." If we realize just how powerful games and hands-on activities are in developing the neural pathways of the brain, we would use them far more than we do. Math manipulatives, like we discussed, are a great way to take the concrete and develop in the child's mind and then move to the abstract. And just general educational play with math, whether that might be setting up a little store for your child to learn numbers and money amounts, or calculating science experiments and experiencing those, or even just the logical thinking of games such as chess and so on. The next area of intelligence is musical intelligence. Musical intelligence is the gift of being able to use, remember, and or create music. Individuals with music intelligence generally have a good sense of rhythm. They can remember melodies easily and can readily distinguish such. Interests and abilities in the musical intelligence are playing a musical instrument, singing, musical theater, listening to music, and so on. And quite often we see professions in this area as musicians, singers, entertainers, conductors, disc jockeys, music teachers. The list goes on and on. Now, how can we bring this in and really use it to diversify our learning? Songs, educational songs are so powerful. Whether we're teaching vocabulary or spelling or math facts, uh, music is a powerful, powerful way to do that. We can sing the spelling words or recite spelling words out loud. We can study to classical music. The next is bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Bodily and kinesthetic intelligence is the ability to understand and easily control one's body in regards to movement. So we see this in athletics, coordination and timing, abilities in dance, hands-on learning, crafts, woodworking, building, and acting. In professions, we tend to see that align with this intelligence are athletes, dancers, seamstresses, actors, carpenters, mechanics, plumbers, and so on. Now, how can we take advantage of this intelligence to help further learning? Some examples are Play-Doh words with spelling or reading, stamping words, sign language spelling, getting up and moving around, have the children read the room when they're learning sight words or just learning general words and reading. Going on trips traveling, going to museums are a great way to be moving and taking information in a bodily kinesthetic way. Even just activities where they're reading words, like giant game board reading. My daughter would roll a dice, walk that many steps to read the word. If she got the word right, she would flip it face down, and then she'd roll the dice and go on to the next word until all of the words were face down. If she didn't know a word or she got it wrong, I would read the word, she would read it back, and she'd leave it face up and go on. And she loved that game. Same idea with beanbag words. She would throw a beanbag and read the word that it landed on. Spelling SWOT. You say it, well, actually, this can be used in reading or spelling. You can read a word and the child has to find it and SWOT it. Or you can start spelling a word and they find the word that you're spelling and SWOT it. Hands-on experiential learning is so powerful no matter the age. Being really able to touch and experience and explore and experiment is so powerful. All right, the next area of intelligence is interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence is the ability to interact with others easily and comfortably. Interests and abilities in this area are making friends easily, being empathetic, a conversationalist, a team player, or a volunteer. And professions we see in this area of intelligence tend to be CEOs, psychologists, therapists, tutors, mentors, coaches, politicians, motivational speakers, salespeople, and teachers. Now, how can we use the interpersonal intelligence to nurture hearts and develop abilities and learning? We can play educational games that not only the hands-on and the fun of it, but the interaction develops so much in children. Having family discussions, discussing what we're learning, having a child explain a concept to you adds a greater depth of learning. Teaching a sibling, and just having interactive learning where you're discussing and doing with others. Intrapersonal intelligence is next. Intrapersonal intelligence is the natural capacity to understand oneself. Interests and abilities in this area tend to lie along these lines. Having a good sense of self, being a deep thinker, defending and upholding beliefs, journal writing, and so on. Professions in this area are clergymen, psychologists and therapists, teachers, writers, entertainers, entrepreneurs, program planners, and so on. So, how can we use interpersonal intelligence to develop learning environments with our children and in our classrooms? We can inspire our kids to use the following different activities in learning: reading to a stuffed animal, journaling, even just talking to a therapist or talking through things with another person adds layers of learning as we communicate to others and listen to their experience. Next is naturalistic intelligence. Naturalistic intelligence is a deep understanding of nature and animals. Interests and abilities are animals, nature, gardening, geology, earth and life sciences, camping and hiking, meteorology, astronomy, uh, and environmental causes. And professions tend to be veterinarians, farmers, biologists, astronomers, environmentalists, horticulturists, landscapers, meteorologists, and geologists. We can build on this area through nature journaling. Nature journaling is powerful, not only in softening hearts, but also learning the science subjects and journaling, writing, pondering, and just the atmosphere is so conducive um, to great learning. Nature story writing, or even just activities like hide and go seek math facts, where math facts are hidden in an area and the child has to go find those facts and provide the answer. Other ideas include sand spelling, reading, and writing. That kinesthetic touch, but also having it be the earth, the sand, is powerful in adding layers and building neural pathways in the brain. Reading to a pet can be a powerful experience, especially for a child who has a closeness with animals or may be nervous reading to other individuals. And really just getting out in nature and asking questions and exploring. One, as a teacher, asking questions, or as a mentor or a parent asking questions of our children, but also encouraging and modeling asking questions as an individual so that our children are asking questions and exploring and looking for answers. Those 8 intelligences are the theory of multiple intelligences. And I hope as we are educating our children and teaching others that we can implement those as we use a wide variety of the intelligences to teach. Will touch hearts because we'll reach the individual in different areas of strengths and interests. Hey, join me for our next video where we take a look at the last area of developing a heart first education, and that is discovering purpose.